Alrighty, hello everyone. Welcome to our first online violin lesson. So we are going to start. Oh, I'm Antonia, by the way. I forgot to introduce myself. I am one of the teachers here with the orchestra place. So the first thing that I do when I take my violin out of my case is I want to tune it. So we're only going to be using 2 strings for this lesson, like we use in the blue book. So let's just focus on those 2. Okay, so we have our violin out. We're holding it with our left hand. These are the 2 strings we're going to be using. So this top one, the thinnest one right here, that's our E string, like we all remember. So I go to the piano, I'm going to play an E. So find that E on your violin. If it doesn't sound quite right, there's 2 ways that we can adjust that. So we can either tune down here. These are the small tuning pegs. If it only needs a little bit of adjustment, or if it's really, really off that E, then follow the string all the way up to the top of your instrument, and you can use this big tuning knob to adjust it. All right, I'll play that E one more time. Try and tune your violin to that. I'll play it 2 more times for you. Good. Another way that you can do this at home if you don't have a piano, either on your parents' phone or if you have a tablet or something, you can download a mobile tuning app. So I have one on my phone. There's a bunch of free ones. If you just search tuner, you can find one of those and it'll tell you how close you are to that E. The next string that we need to tune is this second one right here, right next to the E. That's our A string, okay? So playing that on the piano. That's our A string. So find that on your violin. And let's make sure all our A strings sound the same. So again, we can tune that the same way. So we can either use those bottom tuning pegs if it's just a little bit of a difference, or follow the string all the way up to the top and use the big one if it's really, really far off. So for tuning your violin at home by yourself, get a tuning app. So just type in tuner on your parents' smartphone or have them find one, and you'll be able to get those strings, the A string and the E string, and make sure those are really in tune. All right, good. So if you have your blue violin book, we're going to start on page 15 and go between those E and those A strings. I have the picture up here of the page if you need it. So holding our violin, again, we hold our violin in our left hand. And we want in a straight line, we have the bridge of our nose matches the bridge of this if we're looking down. Our thumb, well, let me switch back to the other screen actually so you guys can see this. So one thing that's really important is the way that we hold this hand against the neck of the violin. So we want our thumb on one side, and then we want our hand to be relaxed but straight. We don't want it bent like this. And we also don't want it too flexed this way. Those are all going to make it so your hand like cramps a little bit while you're playing, and it's not going to be fun. So we want it relaxed. Shake your hand out and relax it. And we'll put it right up there near the top of our violin so that we can make nice little squares when we're playing and pressing our fingers down. And our bow, I'm sure you guys have learned this already. And just to review, so you have our thumb goes in this part of our bow, then our pinky goes on the metal part, and then we drape the rest of our fingers over top. I always put my middle finger kind of rests on that little dot on your bow, okay? So thumb and this little crook right here, pinky, drape the rest of our fingers with our middle finger touching that dot. All right, let's get some practice going between our E and our A string. All right, so on page 15, of our blue book, let's find the skateboarder. We're going to start with that, all right? And if you guys have any questions, feel free. I see some of you guys are already in the chat typing to each other. You guys can type any questions you have in there, and I'll see those and I can address those in the video, okay? All right, so on page 15, getting our violin up, using our right good posture with our hand. Here we go, the skateboarder. Starting on our A string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest, rest. Shh, shh. Shh, shh. Shh, shh. All right, very good. So I always like to shh during the rests. If you guys want to do that with me, it helps me keep track in my head how long I'm being quiet for. So each beat on the rests gets a shh. All right, let's move on to the next song, the Boy Scout. So the rhythm on this one is a little bit different, but we're still just going between our E and our A string. So this should all be review right now. You guys have probably already played these in your classes. I only see 2 rests, so remember we're going to do shh, shh on those 2 rests in the second line. All right, let's try this one. So in this one, in the skateboarder, we only had half notes. In the Boy Scout, I see that we have half notes and quarter notes. So remind yourself right now, how long is a quarter note? 1 beat, good, and half notes are 2 beats like we just played. Okay, so these quarter notes are going to be a little bit shorter than that half note. Here we go. Starting on our E string this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very nice. All right, last one on this one. Let's play the cheerleader together. No rests in this. We're just going between our E string and our A string. Lots of quarter notes in this one, though, so we're really going to have to focus on our counting for this. All right, here we go. The cheerleader. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very nice. All right, next page that we're going to go to, page 23. So let's review all of the notes that we play on our E string. So again, the E string is going to be our highest string right here. Okay. So when we put our first finger down, as you can see in marching, that's an F sharp, okay? Do you guys see that sign? It looks like, my students always say, they go, what's that hashtag doing? What's that hashtag doing on the lines of the music? And I go, that's not a hashtag. In music, we call that a sharp, okay? So we're playing an F sharp when we put our first finger down on the E string, all right? So let's try playing our E really quick. And then let's put our first finger down, just our first finger, okay? And then we'll play that first finger together. Good. That's our F sharp. And then the other one that we need to review too is our second finger, which, as you can see on your paper, that's going to be a G sharp. Yeah, okay, good point. I don't have any finger tape on my violin. Maybe I'll put some on mine for next lesson. But so remember, we have our tape that goes across right here, and that's our first finger tape. And then we have tape that goes across right here, and that's our second finger tape. And then across right here, and that's our third finger. So all of our fingers have a number, okay? 1, our pointer finger is our first finger. Our middle finger is our second finger. And then our ring finger is our third finger, okay? So So make sure for that F sharp that you're putting it on that first finger tape. And then now let's find that second finger tape. Okay. And we are going to put our second finger down. So I always keep, when I'm putting my second finger down, I don't lift my first finger up. I keep my first finger pressed down and then I press down my second finger too. So you can leave your first finger pressed down and then just add your second finger to that. And let's play that G sharp. Good. All right. So 2 fingers down for that G sharp. I think that's everything that we need to know for the notes that we know so far on our E string. There's one more note that we're going to learn on our E string probably next week, if you haven't learned it already. All right, so let's play Marchin'. So if you look at this one, when you think about marching, it's at a pretty steady rhythm, right? So this song is kind of like that. If you notice, we have a lot of quarter notes. And it's kind of like we're marching our feet back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, half note. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, half note. Okay? All right, here we go. Marching'. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Let's play that one more time a little bit more slowly. I think I counted that off a little bit fast. All right, marching one more time. So what's nice about this is we're just walking up with our fingers. Open, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, open. All right, a little bit slower, one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very nice. Next one, it's a song that we all know, Hot Cross Buns. So this one's using those same notes on our E string, okay? 2, 1, open. Shh, shh. Since we already know the rhythm of this one, because we've probably all played it a lot of times before, I'm not going to go over the rhythms. Let's just try to play this. All right. So first, let's put our 2 fingers down on our E string to get ready. So find your first finger tape, put your finger down, and find your second finger tape and put your finger down. And one thing I want you guys to work on, it's kind of hard for me to get this all in the video camera, but when you're playing, you want your fingers to be like little squares, okay? So it should be like a little square. Again, our hand is relaxed up near the top. And this is going to make sure that we have a really, really clear sound on that string. And we have those little squares. Okay. So focus on that. All right, Hot Cross Buns. Here we go. 2 fingers down on the E string. I'm going to rest my bow on the E string to get ready to play. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. All right, the last thing that we're going to do today, this one's always a favorite in all the classes that I do. All of my kids ask me to play Mary Had a Little Lamb almost every day, so I figured that you guys probably like this song a lot too. So this is on page 28 of your blue book. So let's take a look at what it says at the top there. So I'm going to switch it back to the other page. Do you guys notice on page 23 how in front of that F we have our sharp sign, and in front of the G we have our sharp sign? But then when we go over to page 28 for Mary Had a Little Lamb, there's no sharp signs in front of the notes anymore. So that's because we added a thing called a key signature. So if you look at the top of the page, let's read this together. Key signature. A key signature is the sharps at the beginning of a line. When you see 3 sharps, play all F, C, and G notes as sharps. So what this does, key signatures tell us we have different groups of sharps and different groups of flats. This particular group of sharps we call the key of A. And in the key of A, to make it sound like all of the other, to make the keys sound the same even though we're starting on a different note, we want to sharp those 3 notes. So we have our G sharp and our F sharp are the only ones that we're going to be playing. But if there were C's in this song, we would be playing those as C sharp also. So that's just something that you have to remember when we start learning more and more notes on the violin, that in a key signature, all of those G's in this whole piece of music are going to be G sharps. Okay? So, Mary Had a Little Lamb. What's nice about this song is if you look, line 1 and line 3 are the exact same thing. So let's just clap that rhythm really quick. I just set my violin on my lap. I like clapping the rhythm. Here we go. 1, 2, clapping the rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Same rhythm in line 3. Let's clap that. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and. In the next line, in line 2, it's just a repeated, those measures are the same rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the last rhythm that we need to know is just at the end of the piece, which is just 4 quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a whole note. So the hard thing about whole notes is make sure that you have enough bow to play that whole note at the end. All right, before we run out of time here, let's go ahead and play Mary Had a Little Lamb together. If you have any questions, write those in the box really quick before we end, and I'll try to answer those. All right, Mary Had a Little Lamb. Here we go. So 2 fingers down on the E string. Let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice job. So for this week, why don't you practice those pages that we worked on, which, just for a reminder, that was page 15, page 23, and page 28. You can practice all those songs on your own until our next lesson, which is going to be next Tuesday. And also, just for a challenge, remember I said there's one more note on the E string that we haven't learned yet. See if you can maybe look ahead in your book and find what that note is, and practice playing that also so that you're already ahead for next week. All right, I don't see any questions, so I think we're going to end the feed now. But thank you guys so much for joining us. And good job. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Ciao.